Ed Markey, Democrat from the great state of Massachusetts, joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
So, Senator, tell me what you most disagreed with last night with the president and what you most agreed with.
Well, first of all, just in the clip that you had, there's an internal contradiction. On the one hand, President Trump says, well, he wants cleaner air and cleaner water and to increase the defense of our country. Well, he's going to cut the budget for the Environmental Protection Agency, which fights the battle for clean air and clean water, by 20%. So he's going to retreat on the protections for the things that really do matter for security for people in their homes, for their families, for their children. And when he says he wants to increase defense spending, what he forgets to leave out is that, it's going to come at the expense of health care, at the expense of education, at the expense of clean air and clean water, and at the expense of the State Department diplomacy budget. So he wants to increase by tens of billions of dollars the number of nuclear weapons which we have, while he's simultaneously cutting the funding for diplomacy that would avoid the need for us to ever have to use those nuclear bombs.
So
it just doesn't add up.
So is there any program that he suggested where you thought, yeah, that's a good idea?
Well, again, if we can have an infrastructure bill that is put together on a bipartisan basis for new roads, for new bridges, that would be great. But if part of that proposal...
Okay, given that, where do we get... I just heard you list a number of things before about how he's taking money from the EPA, he's going to build up the military, we don't have that. And you like the infrastructure. Well, if we don't have the money for the other two, where are we getting the money for the infrastructure? Exactly.
So Donald Trump has a formula that doesn't add up. He's got a lot of Wall Street guys working for him. Maybe they should just show him the numbers. If you have huge tax breaks for wealthy people and you increase defense spending simultaneously, there is no money left over for infrastructure. There is no money left over for these other programs.
But there isn't even any money anyway. Where you talk about money left over, we don't have any money. We are so far in debt. We don't have any money right now to do anything anyone wants. We got to get it someplace. We got to borrow it. We got to print it. We got to steal it. I mean, I don't know where we're going to get this money. And all these things are things that, people want lower health care. I don't blame them, but that's got to be paid for. People want cleaner air. We got to pay for that. So, the whole thing is rather complicated, and we don't have the cash.
Well, Greta, here's what Mike Pence just said to you. They're going to get the money, the $54 billion, from all the other programs. And that is education, it is health care, it is environment, it's all these other programs. So he just told you where the money's coming from. It's coming from the programs.
But those aren't even paid for.
Here's the bottom line. The bottom line agenda that they have is this. They have an ancient animosity, right-wing Republicans, towards all of these Democratic programs. They want to leave them as debt-soaked relics of what they once were. And the only way to do it is to create such a huge deficit that ultimately Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid are all on the table, all on the chopping block. So it's all part of the grand plan that they could not ultimately implement during the Reagan years or during the Gingrich era. And they're bringing out the exact same plan and hoping that the American people will swallow it this time. But they're too smart, because once they see the actual details of the social programs for the poorest children, for the poorest seniors in our country, they're going to retreat as fast as they can and just, again, run up the debt. Because ultimately they have to give these tax breaks to the wealthiest, because that's the promise they made during the campaign, and it's the one thing that they're going to be sure that they're going to fulfill.
Senator, thank you for joining us. Hope you come back, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.